What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my recap for Crocop vs. Gonzaga 2. Sorry that there's not a lot of light. I'm doing this really late at night where I live, so I just wanted to do the recap before I went to bed. Let's start at the bottom. Taylor Lapless versus Rocky Lee. Not much to say about this fight. It was just Rocky Lee couldn't get Lapless to the ground. Lapless was really good with his striking, his technical striking. It was just able to, not land anything devastating, but just pick him apart for 3 rounds and won the unanimous decision, 30-27 on all cards. Next was Stevie Ray versus Maxime Belland, and Maxime, I saw his debut, he gasses, and Stevie Ray is a pretty good prospect. That's why I picked him, and he won by second round knockout. And I thought, he was pretty close to getting that arm triangle in the first, but the first round was pretty back and forth, but the second round was just one-sided ass whooping. Next was Alexandria Albu versus Isabel Burdick. I can't remember who I'd picked for this fight. I meant to pick the undefeated person. I think I got their names mixed up and accidentally picked Isabel, but they're both judo chicks, but I thought the Russian chick had better boxing, and that's what happened. They both were pretty much equal when it came to the wrestling, so neither one of them could take each other down, but Albu was able to just pick her apart and then caught her in a guillotine when she went for a sloppy takedown. So good guillotine win for Albu. Next was Anthony Hamilton versus Daniel Oskolich, and this is one of my 2 big problems in MMA is when guys do that finger thing to the ground so they can't get kneed, and when the refs tell them to work, whether they're against the fence or on the ground, and then they'll throw a couple punches and then the ref will give them some time, and they'll say work again, and then they'll throw some punches, do nothing. You know what I mean? I don't like those 2 things more than anything. And one time during this card, somebody did that finger shit, and the referee said, don't play that game, and I was like, yes, do that more, because to me, it shouldn't just be their fingers, it should be like their palm, flat on the mat. You know what I mean? Not just like 2 fingers down, 2 or 3 fingers down. You're not down, you know what I mean? That's no different than having your hand up a tiny bit. And the other thing which happened in this fight, the thing where the guy gets held up against the fence, the whole 3rd round was, I had the fight 1-1 going into the 3rd. Anthony won the first, Oskolich won the second, and the whole 3rd round, Anthony was just holding him against the fence, and he would throw some decent strikes when the refs told him to work, and then he'd do nothing, and then the refs said work, he'd throw some strikes, pretty much do nothing. And that was the whole round, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, just separate them, you son of a bitch. It's obvious he's just gonna, you know what I mean? It's obvious that that's what they're gonna do. You tell them to work, then they'll work, and then they'll just do nothing, catch their breath, and wait for you to say it again. And, you know what I mean? This is one of those things. This fight could have been more entertaining if the ref was just more like, I don't think the ref should warn them. That should just be one of those things where you should just be working. You shouldn't be told to work. You should just do it, or you get separated. That's why the ref should just be in his head like 10-20 seconds, and if they don't do something, you separate them. Anyway, besides that, good one for Anthony Hamilton. I'm just saying they need to change that. They shouldn't warn them. They should just separate them after a certain amount of time, because then shit like that happens. Or give them 1 warning, and then if they do it again, you know what I mean? 1 warning is good. Next was Yatin Meza versus Damian Stikes, and I thought Stikes won the first, and then the second 2. Most of the fights on this card were boring, and like I said, it was hard to call a lot of these fights, because I'd never seen the vast majority of these fighters fight, or I'd seen them fight like once, and they got their asses whooped. So, good win for Yatin Meza. It was a good back and forth grappling match, but just not much to talk about. Next was Sergio Moraes versus Michael Laboute, and I thought Michael probably should have won this fight, but I can see why they gave it to Moraes, because it's not like Michael was landing anything devastating, and that takedown at the end of the first probably stole Sergio that round. But like I said, I do think Michael won. I don't think he did enough to complain about it, though. I think he should have gone after Sergio a little bit more. And, he was just throwing really light shots, just staying far away, and even though he probably should have won this fight, I don't think he did enough to complain about the bad decision. Next was Bots Franks versus Gareth McKellen, and this was just a one-sided wrestling match. Boris was just able to get takedown after takedown and just land decent ground and pound the whole 3 rounds, so good win for Boris. Next was Leon Edwards versus Seth Baczynski, and this fight was 8 seconds. Leon Edwards just threw a straight right and dropped Basinski and threw one more when he was on the ground, like half conscious, half unconscious, and knocked him out. So good, quick knockout. It's the second fastest knockout in welterweight history. The first, obviously, being Dwayne Bad Ludwig before a second one. Now, on the main card, Maria Moraes versus Joanne Calderwood. I don't think anyone thought Moraes was going to win. I don't think anyone even knew who she was before this fight. You know, I don't know what it is. I think women are just incapable of getting out of arm bars. It's like you throw an arm bar on a chick and she's just done for. I don't know why there are so many arm bar wins in women's MMA. You think, like, I mean, and that's not just a joke. I mean, you look at a lot of women's records with the submission wins. Most of their submission wins are like rear naked chokes or arm bars. So I don't know what it is. Can women just not defend arm bars? You think they would? Just saying. You think they would work on that shit? Like, you look at the amount of. I'm not just talking about Ronda. Excluding Ronda, there's still tons and tons of arm. Like this Moraes chick, I think all of her wins were by armbar coming into this fight. So, just something I wonder. You know, good win for her. It was quick, like 1 minute fight. But just saying. Next was Pollock versus Sheldon Westcott, and Sheldon Westcott. You know, I think he still looks good, but he gasses horribly, and that's a huge weakness. And Pollock was just able to take advantage of that. So good 29-28 decision. It was just basically a boring grappling fight. And now onto the main two fights, which were the fights that were the ones that I really cared about. Jimmy Manuwa versus John Blankovic. When Jimmy and John were just striking with each other normal, I thought they were pretty even. I thought they were pretty even when they were striking out on the outside, you know. I thought they both landed probably the exact same amount of shots on each other. But the big difference was when Jimmy got a hold of him and clinched with him. He was always pushing him against the fence and landing the shots against the fence. And the majority of the fight, Jimmy was the one moving forward. So I thought Jimmy won every single round. I thought the fight was boring as hell, but which is weird, because Jimmy Manuwa's never gone past the second round in his entire career. But, you know, good win for him. It was just a boring fight where he basically was just the one moving forward and landing a little bit more strikes the whole fight. Now on to the main event, Cro Cop versus Gonzaga 2. This was like I said in my prediction video, this is the only fight worth watching this card for. It was a great win for Cro Cop. You know, he lost the first 2 rounds, and then Gonzaga started to gas like he always does. He has horrible cardio, and that's Cro Cop's biggest weakness. I think even at his age, he's like Randy Couture, you know, he's got better conditioning than most of the heavyweights, even younger heavyweights, you know, and I think if he can take advantage of that and just, you know, throw higher volume, he could still be a top 15 heavyweight. He just needs to throw more. I think Gonzaga has horrible conditioning because he was dominating those first 2 rounds. I don't know how you gas from being in the mount for like 5 minutes of a fight, but you know, if he's able to just move more on the bottom and throw higher volume, I think he could be, you know, at least a somewhat relevant top 15 heavyweight. Anyway, it was a great fight. I know it won fight of the night. I'm glad. I know I picked Gonzaga, but that's just because I thought he would get the finish, and you know, he probably could have. I don't know what the hell. Like I said, he was gassing from being in the mount. He needs to retire. That was just horrible showing for him. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna put my prediction video up for Machida versus Rockhold soon. Anyway, please like and subscribe.